not have a problem with this fragrance. I actually love it. But look at this. Look at this. If I hadn't opened this fragrance, this is something that's coming out of the fragrance itself. Now imagine gifting somebody this. And I'm African, by the way. And there's a lot of myths that go around. I mean, if I hadn't opened this and simply gifted it to somebody, they would think, wait a minute, what the heck?
Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I post fragrance related content on this platform, and if that style of content is something that you like, please do consider subscribing and joining this family. Now, to those who are returning, thank you so much guys for the continued support. Kindly check out my other channel, CeeChronicles-Unscripted, where I focus on fragrances that are non-Middle Eastern as well as vlogs. That channel's link is on the banner of this channel where you find my photograph there. Just below that, you're going to find two links, which is one link that will take you to CeeChronicles-Unscripted, and another link that is going to take you to PayPal in case you want to donate towards some of the purchases of fragrances on this channel. Now, welcome to today's video. As one of my 2024 resolutions, I said to myself, if a fragrance does not speak to me for at least 3, 4, 5, 6 months in my collection, I'm gonna let it go. And it is also the reason why I am introducing a fragrance rotation tray. The rotation tray is to help me to get maximum usage of some of the fragrances that I have in my collection. I would very much love to donate some of these fragrances to anyone within my proximity because, as you know, fragrance shipping can be a hassle. So if you are within my geographic location and you see a fragrance that you like here, drop it in the comment section. I will try to make sure that it gets to you. I am located in Zimbabwe, guys, as well as South Africa. And the challenge that we have, especially in Zimbabwe, is you cannot sell a fragrance that is open, or at least to my knowledge, unless you own a shop. And the decant system is something that did not take off. So people in Zim do not believe in decants or, fragrances that are open. They would look at it, like with a cringe as to why are you giving me a fragrance that's open, for whatever reasons they have. The very first one that's on the chopping board, guys, is Hayti from Fragrance World. I purchased this one, I think 3 or 4 months before the end of the year 2023. It was the notes that made me purchase this, but when it turned up, it did not have a chocolate note that I thought it was going to have. Rather, it is a fragrance inspired by 1 Million Lucky, and my son is not too big on fragrances. He's one that will need 2 bottles, and those will last him a year. So I also do not feel this particular DNA, more so that is very masculine leaning. So that is my number one. Hayti is out the window, right? The next one, guys, and disclaimer, it's not like these fragrances were cheap to purchase. Some of them were expensive. Like I purchased Wayward Charlie from Dubai Perfume Cafe when it had just launched, and I think their launching price was about 700 Rand or something, which translated at the time to close to about $50, $40-50. So it's not like I'm letting go of these fragrances maybe because they're worth nothing. All right, I'm just trying to say it's because they honestly, hand on heart, did not work. Now when it comes to Wayward Charlie, let me take it out of the box. It is a fragrance inspired by Frank Walker's Cocaine. Immediately I got this fragrance and I sprayed it. I knew it wasn't going to work. I knew that the relationship between myself and this fragrance was not going to work, and I'll tell you why. This fragrance smells a lot like my Tom Ford's Orchid Soleil, a fragrance that I had to negotiate with to finish because I had paid a pretty penny on. So when I got this one, and Noi oil just hit me there, together with, I think, a terry flower and something that feels very coconutty and heady, I knew I was not going to use this fragrance, but this is going to make somebody really happy. So that's one that's on the chopping board there, inspired by Frank Walker's Cocaine, is Paris Corner's Wayward Charlie. But do make sure that you do love Noi oil, because that's what speaks the most in this particular fragrance. Next one, guys, is Lattafa. Another one that I just bought because of FOMO. When I checked out the Dubai Perfume Cafe website, they had listed that they had just under 5 left in stock or something, and I didn't want to miss out on this. A big mistake of my life. Fragrance turned out, it's a very nice fragrance for somebody, but definitely not me. It's very aromatic to my nose, minty there, eucalyptusy, mentholantum, that is the vibe I get from this fragrance. But having said that, it's not like you're gonna move around smelling like Vicks, but it just feels like you walked into a garden where they have a lot of spices there, and most of them are minty toned. So that's what I get from this. To me, it screams masculine. So if you want this fragrance, just make sure that you do love masculine fragrances in case you're a woman, and also most importantly, make sure you are within my geographic location, because shipping fragrances can be a hassle unless you know how you can get the fragrance to yourself, and you know how things are done in Africa. It can be an issue of meet so and so driving through one road and you can just drop the fragrance to them and they'll bring it to Tanzania, that sort of thing. That's how we roll in Africa, guys. It's not things are not very procedural to a certain extent. We do have the DHLs and stuff, but it will cost you an arm and a leg. To post a $30-40 fragrance might cost you, I don't know, whatever it is. So it's usually somebody who knows somebody who's going to give that fragrance to somebody. So if you get what I'm trying to say, then you could grab yourself any one of these fragrances, guys. The next one that really didn't speak to me, guys, is going to be the Shant, inspired by a shant for the nymph. This is from Maison Alhambra. This one, I just decided that I needed it based off the fact that it was cloning a niche fragrance. And boy, oh boy, what I didn't realize is I would be left with a very tuberose forward ylang based fragrance, very tropical to the nose, suntan lotiony there, drunken creamy type of situation, to an extent that I did not really use this one. I think I just sprayed it 2 or 3 times and it was just too heady for me. It's called Maison Alhambra, the Shant, right? The Shant, inspired by Gucci's Shant for the nymph. All these fragrances, I can guarantee you, are full. And remember, I did give you a hack on how to check whether a fragrance is full or not. I said you put it in the freezer and it's not going to spoil. It's not going to change how it smells like. You just put it in the freezer. The following morning, you wake up, where the line is at there, that's where the juice is at. So these fragrances are full. Now, next up on a chopping board is going to be this one. This, we're going to give one last chance. Okay, one last chance. As in, one last time, I need to be the one to take you home. Now, this doesn't mean I'm undecided. I am very much decided that I don't want this in my collection anymore. It is called Suede Intense from Maison Alhambra. But why we're giving it just one more day or two in my collection is because I have a video scheduled for the next couple of days where I'm going to bring to you a collection of some of the Guerlain clones within my collection, and I feel I need to just give this one just one last minute of fame there because it is inspired by Suede Intense. So we need it in that cluster of fragrances or group of fragrances after which it can go. Unfortunately, it's one I couldn't find a box of. So if you don't mind receiving a fragrance that is not in its box, there you have it. Another one I couldn't find a box for is this one. I would have a very much loved to get all the boxes, but and I do keep all my boxes. I just think with some of the fragrances that I couldn't find the boxes, it could be that they turned out spoiled or crushed or something like that, because some of them I get from South Africa, some of them I get directly from Dubai. By the time they show up, it's almost like they've been in a boxing match and the box is just useless. So this one is Maison Alhambra Panther. It does not have a box. Letting go of this because it's very masculine leaning to my nose. It will probably not be used by me at all, and for me to wait for my son to finish his 2-3 bottles, something that might happen in 2035, I think we may as well just let them go. The next two, these let me bring as twins. These fragrances have not done anything wrong to me whatsoever, guys. To my nose, it's just Raoul Al Oud is one of those traditional Lattafa DNAs that have been done over and over again. This time, it's an oud that meets something that feels like a raspberry or a fruity undertone. And honestly speaking, it's a fragrance that I will not reach out that much for. So I just thought to myself, let it go. Unfortunately, this particular one influenced me to let both of them go. This is a beautiful musk, right? It's Raoul Almas is twinning with that. But it is just, to me, a fruity musk that is most likely to go behind my shelves and I'll completely forget about it, only to wake up to it 30 years later when it has disintegrated and it's good for nothing. So it had to go for that reason. I'm not gonna reach out for it, guys. Next up is Patchouli number 7 from Amir's from Paris Corners Amir. This one is going simply because of the patchouli. It is patchouli on steroids, inspired by Van Cleef and Arpels patchouli something. That's all you smell from this fragrance, basically, guys. So this is going to be a love, an absolute love for anybody who loves patchouli forward fragrances. It's very heady to me there because of that patchouli. Let me show you another one quickly here that I'm also letting go of because of the patchouli note. Khaf is another one I'm letting go, guys, because I'm done slagging this fragrance. I'm done talking trash about this fragrance. I'm done, showing you this fragrance as one of the worst ones I've ever smelled out there. So might as well just be kind enough and let it go. This fragrance is not bad at all. But to me, it has this patchouli on steroids mixing with like a waxy kind of tone there. Inspired by Villarossi's patchouli something. I probably, will not use this. It's one fragrance that doesn't inspire me to want to smell like it. It's just there. So at the end of the day, instead of just bringing it here and giving it as an example of one of the worst fragrances I've ever smelled, I'm just going to be kind enough to pass it on to somebody who's going to show it some love. So Khaf, guys, is also on the chopping board. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Chooks, he said something about this fragrance. I think he said it was his favorite fragrance or one of his favorites or something. He also has a YouTube channel and often watches my videos, and it's a pity. He's in Nigeria, so I can't get this fragrance to him. The next fragrance that I'm letting go of is Shelina. It's not what I expected. First of all, I've had a lot of questions on the video that I did for this, where people ask me, is this inspired by the actual Shelina by Guerlain? And no, it has nothing to do with that. What makes it worse is, to my nose, this is simply poured Velvet Mood, is it? No, Velvet Oud rebottled. Okay, Velvet Oud rebottled. And I just felt betrayed in the sense that I've smelled this a gazillion times, guys. Why do I need another one of these? It just feels as though they love this DNA so much and they're willing to rebottle it. I don't know whether it is just a famous DNA. I don't know, but when it comes to Lattafa, they keep bringing this DNA. This is another example of this DNA. And when I say this DNA, let me bring it closer to home so that you have smell-o-vision. It's a DNA that feels like that in Amir Al Oud, but it's kind of played around with so many times, where in one instance they will put like a fruit in that DNA, they'll put a little bit more of the cinnamon in that DNA, they'll add a little rose in that DNA, they'll make it a little jammy, that sort of thing. But most nasal palettes are not able to move from that spicy oody thing that they use there. So this is one that's going because of that. This I purchased for I think it was $25, right? 500 Rand was about $25. And I just used 2-3 sprays and I knew exactly what this fragrance was about. And I was just not interested, guys, because it's going to be redundant in my collection. This one has got the incensey undertone. Amir Al Oud has got like a distinct smokiness where you feel as though you are by the fireplace. It is a clone of By the Fireplace, by the way. This one does not have that distinct note, but if you take out that note, whatever you remain with that reminds you of what Lattafa does all the time is kind of like what you smell here. So that's the reason why Simply Oud has got to go, guys. Another one I knew, and this one is not even a fragrance I thought to give a chance. This one did not even make it on my fragrance tray. Precious Gold by Ms. Alhambra, inspired by Marc Jacobs' Perfect Intense. And guess what? Somebody came in my comment section and said, Marc Jacobs' Perfect Intense has been discontinued. And it made me think, my nose is not that bad after all. Why did they discontinue that fragrance? This is almonds on steroids, guys. And I think why I just didn't want to give this fragrance a chance is it smells so much like Yara Moi, which is a fragrance I could not stand. And it's just got this staying power. The staying power, guys, that's on steroids. This is a not negotiable type of situation. You've got to really love this DNA, because this DNA will work over time for you, in the sense that it is beastly. So it's not one of those that you can spray and you really do not like, but you're just spraying to get rid of, because it's going to choke you out, okay? They did drop Precious Pink. I want Precious Pink, guys, because I honestly, hand on heart, love the regular Marc Jacobs Perfect. So I would want to test Precious Pink and then, you know, tell you my thoughts on that one. That is on the chopping board is going to be colored. It looks as though it's one of those fragrances that Lattafa made and quickly discontinued. I don't know why, because it's very hard to find. But I am letting go of mine because this is sticky sweet. This, you know, a little goes a long way. I haven't even used it that much, because just a little, if I spray it here, it's okay. To give you a mental shortcut, is one of those that you may want to spray in the air and walk through, because on your clothes directly, this is heady, sticky. It's a nice fragrance, but it's just doing too much for me. So this is colored, also known as necklaces, that I have decided to declutter. Let me show you another one that is going. And this one, I'm going to have to be honest, guys. Flavia Georgian's The Lionheart. I'm letting go of this one with a heavy heart. Simply because it's a beautiful DNA. I love this one. Inspired by the Roaring Redcliffe. Okay, Roaring Redcliffe by Penhaligon's. Flavia is not very much spoken about. I do not have a problem with this fragrance. I actually love it, but I find that, you see, look at this. Look at this. If I hadn't opened this fragrance, let me just take it out of the box. Maybe you'll understand why, you know, Zimbabweans, or I don't know if it's only Zimbabwe or other countries as well, are not so comfortable with getting used fragrances. Look at this. This is nothing to do with me. This is something that's coming out of the fragrance itself. Now imagine gifting somebody this. And I'm African, by the way. And there's a lot of myths and stuff that go around. I mean, if I hadn't opened this and simply gifted it to somebody, they would think, wait a minute, what the heck? They wouldn't understand that this is a manufacturer's defect or something like that, okay? Of course, I'm going to clean it up because I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've had a couple of fragrances from the Middle East show up leaking and all that. I'm going to clean it up. I'm letting this one go, guys, because I have of Asa Gad. They're not the same fragrances. This one is cloning Penhaligon's The Roaring Redcliffe. Gayad is cloning tobacco something, okay, by Mancera. I prefer that one because it projects more. The tobacco note projects a lot more in that one, and I enjoy that one a lot. This is nice. It's boozy, it's spicy, it's tobacco-y. Would make a great gift for any mature man or somebody who is well versed with niche fragrances, because it can come across as a little bit strange there because of that very prominent tobacco note mixing with like a boozy undertone. The next fragrance that's gotta go is Tael. I have spoken about this fragrance. I do not think I want to talk about it anymore. I am simply tired of this fragrance. It's something that I'm noticing here. You see, this is how much little attention I paid to this fragrance. It's got those two deers there, and to me it's now kind of maybe feels like this could be a PDM clone or something. But anyway, in terms of the juice itself, guys, it is metallic. It's got like a metallic tone to it, a little bit strange. Smells like if water had a smell, you know, that sort of thing, like icy water. It's got like that steel tone to it, ozonic. Very strange, but very nice. Can be very, very nice. But this DNA kind of has a little bit of resemblance to that of what's that one? I'm forgetting that one which was cloned by Masa. Okay, I'm forgetting the actual DNA. So I prefer Masa more. So this one has got to go because it's just going to sit in my collection and collect dust. Now the next one I'm letting go with a heavy heart again. But like I said, we move, guys. This is 2024. We're not going to keep fragrances for the fun of it. This is from Fragrance World, Shelina exclusive. Disclaimer, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this fragrance. So don't go hesitating to buy this fragrance. I'm simply letting it go because I purchased a Noi Imperial, another clone of Delina exclusive, and I think I prefer that one more. And I want more use from that one because I paid a pretty penny on that one as opposed to this. So if I should change my mind after my Imperial is finished, I can always repurchase this because this I think was 15 bucks, 250 Rand to 300 Rand, which is about 15 bucks, somewhere there, about 15, 18 bucks. That's what I paid for this. But for my Club de Noi Imperial, I dropped about, that one was 1,200 or 1,200 or 1,100, which is about maybe roughly, okay, don't quote me on these rates, guys, roughly it could have been about $80. So I prefer to commit myself to using the Imperial and then giving this one, this Shelina exclusive, to somebody who is going to show it absolute love. The next one that's going, and it's simply because it is a rose fragrance on steroids, guys. This screams mature. This is the sort of floral that is piercing to my nose, and if you're an OG, you'll know that I kind of have a love-hate relationship with florals, especially if they're distinctly floral and piercing. That's what I get from this. It's simply put, feels like you walked into a rose garden and you plucked a rose and you smelled the stem of it, but then imagine that in perfume form. Okay, so this is Modern Musk inspired by Alexandra J's Morning Musk. It's a musk and a very green floral tone. So I will not use this that much. I will not use this that much. It's just so heady. It kind of has this thing that I get from the same feel, not that it's the same thing, but the same feel I get from Elisab Le Parfum, that thing, that disturbing thing that you get when a floral is kind of doing the most there. So yeah, that's why I'm letting it go. Now the last two are going to be these, and these I might revisit. These, if these are not grabbed fast enough, I might keep in my collection, simply because they're from the house of Lafayette, and it's a house that I intend to explore, right? And these are a collection of many. It's not just these two. I think the range that comes in this bottle is like maybe 6 or even 8. So maybe for future videos, if I want to bring the Lafayette collection, I will end up regretting why I let go of these ones. So these is kind of like a maybe type of situation. So if they resurface someday, it will simply mean that I changed my mind on letting them go. Now, in terms of what they're cloning, this one is a clone of Idol, the original, Lancome's Idol. It's called Lafayette Lavish Blush. Okay, Lavish Blush. And then the last one, or the second one, is Lafayette Luna. This to my nose kind of feels like, what's the name? Olympia. Okay, it kind of feels like a little bit of Olympia there. I just find Olympia a little bit too much there to my nose. So this absolutely, if I'm to keep this, unlike the Lafayette blush, this I would probably just keep to complete the collection, but it's just too heady for me. It's a floral, in case it ends up going, in case somebody is interested and they want to know what it's about. It's a floral. So yeah, guys, that makes the last fragrance. I think I have shown you pretty much all of them. That makes the last fragrance that I intend to declutter, guys. So 2024, we're looking forward to bringing new content, new houses, that sort of thing. That is the reason why I thought, okay, I've got over 200-300 fragrances even, so why keep some of these fragrances that end up at the back of the shelves? And you never get to use, and chances are by the time maybe somebody comes through and you want to give them that fragrance is probably spoiled. So I'm letting go of these fragrances. But please remember, guys, that if you should reach out to me because you want any one of these fragrances, make sure you are within my geographic location. If not, make sure you have a way of ensuring that the fragrance gets to you, because I cannot ship these fragrances via mail. If you're into fragrances, you know how complicated it can be to move fragrances about. So if you want any of these fragrances, we're going to have to do it the African way, where you know somebody who knows somebody who's in Tanzania, who's got a relative who's in South Africa, who's got a relative who's in Zimbabwe, who can pass it on to somebody who is in Malawi, something along them lines. Okay, CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. And let's meet in the comment section, where we obviously discuss more about fragrances. Let me know your thoughts on some of the ones I had to let go of here. I can personally say this to me is not snobbery. This is after a lot of thought. These fragrances were just sitting idle, and I feel they could do with going to new homes. Do turn on post notifications, guys, on both my channels. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Meanwhile, like and share this one, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.